the Cape fur seals we get on the coast of Namibia. In Deutsch, Pelzrobben. Now there is a lot of people that mistaken them with the sea lions. Now sea lions, Cape fur seals, they do look a lot like one another because they are both part of the eared seal family. Now the biggest difference you can see between these seals, the Cape fur seal and the sea lion, is the small ears on the side of the head, because with the sea lion those ears actually sit flat against the head. Here with him you can see his little shell shape, pointy ears coming out on the side. Another difference, you actually get this close to them, you can also just look at the back flippers, those small little nails with the back flippers. With the sea lion it sits on the tip of the flipper. Here it's in the middle and they're only using that to scratch themselves like a dog. And there's the first pelican as well. Anyway, leave the pelican, I'm going to get Eddie off. And that's only in the mating season. Their body excretes a chemical to show that they are sexually mature. Then they turn that bright pinkish color. It's not that they get it from what they're eating like flamingos. But yeah, these two here sitting here, if you look around the eyes, you see the purplish tint around the eyes. If it's purple like that, it's a male. If it's yellow or orange, it's a female. In the breeding season, they lay anything between 2 and 4 eggs, but only 1 egg survives. The first hatchling eats the other eggs. Why that is, that's the first calcium and protein they need to survive. Can anybody maybe tell me what do you estimate is the weight of a pelican? We've got 15. 40. We've got 40. We've got 30. 15. We've got 15. Any other guesses? 30. Sorry? 30, like 30. Okay, we've got another 30. 45, we've got 45. Maybe only 10. We've got 10. 50, like 50. That's half my weight. 60. You're getting very close to an ostrich there. Guys, just for interest's sake, the heaviest bird on earth that can still fly is a giant albatross. The giant albatross weighs maximum 24 kilos. The biggest bird in size that can fly is the Corybustor. It's an inland bird. They weigh up to 19 kilos. The pelican you see sitting here weighs between 3 and 6 kilos. If they're fully eaten, max about 10 to 12 kilos, and they can then still fly. Then the biggest bird that cannot fly is the ostrich. They weigh 60-65 kilos. But don't worry, that's not the highest case. The highest case I've ever had on my boat was 140. When they start heading over, you'll see there's some drums floating in the water there. That's the oyster farms. Now from the oyster farms we're going to the lighthouse. From the lighthouse over to the seal colonies, a little bit further out into the open and looking for the animals. Now we are looking on tour for what we call the Marine Big Five. And the Marine Big Five, as we call it, is seals like Boo and Eddie that was on the boat. Number 2, Atlantic bottlenose dolphin, aka Flipper. Everybody knows Flipper. Everybody loves Flipper. I'll tell you a secret about Flipper later on. Then we are looking for the other type of dolphin, which I call the special one, and that is the Benguela dolphin, or also known as the heavy sides dolphin. They've got 2 names, but exactly the same thing, and I'll explain you why they've got 2 names later on as well. But why I call them the special ones, you find them only in the Benguela current, nowhere else in the world. So that's the whole Namibian coastline, a little bit of South Africa and a little bit of Angola. So a very small habitat they've got, but the only place you'll see them is in the Benguela current. So that's actually the one we're looking for. Then number 3 we're looking for is the sunfish, the mola mola. In Deutsch, moonfish. So it's only in English and Afrikaans where you call it a sunfish. In German and any other language it's a moonfish. Day, night, same thing, don't worry. Then number 4 we're looking for is the leatherback sea turtle. Das lederige schildkröte. Okay, and number 5, whales. Okay, so yeah, Let's go see what nature gives. I always say, nature, expect everything, but nothing is guaranteed. Water surface. On the same rope underneath the water, they tie other cages or bags with the oysters in. Now I must just say that in our water in Namibia, we've got no natural oysters. We've got no natural oysters because we've got no river. And that's where your oysters are breeding, where your fresh and your salt water actually comes together. So what these guys did previously, they actually imported the small little baby oysters from Chile, from South America. They just left them in our water for them to grow. But for the last 5 years now, we've got a guy in Swakopmund, his name is Manuel. Manuel was actually clever enough to start breeding his own oysters. How he's doing that? He gets the water mixed right, fresh salt water together, get it to the right concentration, to the right temperature, and he actually gives those oysters a shock treatment. Now what I mean by shock treatment is literally electric current running through the water. As I said, not 200-300 volts, otherwise he'll fry the oysters. It's a very light impulse he puts through, just stimulating the oysters to spawn. Nice, no? It's like zzz, zzz, zzz. Yeah. Manuel is producing such a lot of oysters that he's selling to the local market here, to Lüderitz in the south of Namibia, and also to South Africa. These little baby oysters, when they're anything between 3 and 6 millimeters big, looks like coffee granules. He sells them for between 6 and 10 Namibian cents per oyster. He's selling at this stage about 4 million baby oysters a month. And that makes a lot of sense. He sells them to the guys owning these farms. We've got 4 farms in Walvis Bay, 5 in Lüderitz. How many in South Africa is actually buying from him? I really can't say. But he sells them to these guys. They put them in these cages, on these lines. It takes the oysters in our water, in Walvis Bay and Lüderitz, only 9 to 10 months to grow. From the little baby oyster to this size, which is about 2 to 3 times faster than anywhere in the world. Because in Chile, where we normally got them from, in South Africa, in Naisna, France, anywhere, it takes the same oyster about 2 to 2.5 years to grow to the same size. Now, the reason why they're growing so fast in our water and nowhere else, just the Benguela current passing our coastline. The Benguela current is firstly the plankton richest current in the world. Also in our water we've got 23 different minerals, and that all contributes to the fact of everything growing faster. That's not only the oysters, the small little mussels, the algae. The average farm's got 15 to 20 of these lines. Every single one of these cages has to be cleaned at least once a month. If you don't clean it once a month, you get too much of this growth around the cage, around the oysters, no more water comes in. There's a lot of people, okay, if you've never tried an oyster ever before in your life, you haven't tried them in Namibia, do yourself a favor and please try one. There's a lot of people coming onto the boat say we don't eat oysters, we had them in France, Norway, Chile, wherever. They try these and they do actually like them. There's also some oyster experts that come onto the boat that say that Namibian oysters are some of the best they've ever had. Now I must say that me myself cannot compare our oysters to European oysters, Australian oysters, American oysters, South American oysters, because I've never been out of Africa, which by the way is a continent, not a country. But as I said, I can compare our oysters to South Africa and Angola. The ones that I had in Angola firstly was massive because it's natural oysters that's been growing years and years, nobody cultivated them. But although they were that big, they still had a good taste to them. These here by us, seeing as they're growing so fast in the cold current, much more solid, much more meaty. And also with all the minerals in our water, I believe they adapt the taste of these minerals in our water. Now I seriously believe if you don't like them today, you'll never like them in your life. But once again, you got to be the judge of that. I can't decide for you. There is only 3 cases where you shouldn't eat an oyster. And that is firstly, if you are allergic to seafood, which is a big no-no. If you are vegetarian, which I do respect utmost as well. And thirdly, if you are a lady and you're pregnant, because pregnant ladies shouldn't eat raw seafood, apparently. Other than that, please do yourself a favor and at least try one. Try angular fin that sticks out of the water and looks like a little bottle top. Doing this. Okay. The dolphins, just one big fin straight out of the water. Leatherback sea turtles, looks like a big piece of wood drifting on the water with a big round shape popping up next to it every now and then. Looks like a soccer ball going up and down. Sharks. I've seen sharks on this tour maybe 4 times in 16 years. Now with all the seals that we've got here, the only natural enemies for our seals is on land, which is the jackals and the brown hyenas. We've got no great whites, no macos, no tiger sharks feeding our seals. We do get orcas here, but orcas is a dolphin. That's the biggest in the dolphin family. But the orcas we get here is the ones feeding on fish, not on other marine mammals. But yeah, like I said, they say our water is too cold for the sharks, which I do not believe, because our water is not colder than in Walvis Bay and Hout Bay in South Africa. What I do believe is that the underwater structure in our water doesn't suit the ambush attacks that the sharks need to actually catch the seals. Because wherever you get the sharks catching the seals in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, you got cliffs going into the sea. So for your first 50, 60 meters, you've already got that 150, 200 meters of water depth. So they've got that ambush attack which they need to catch the seals. And our whole coastline is very shallow. We've got no sudden drop-offs where they can hunt. And I believe that's the main reason why we don't get them here, because they can't feed on the seals. We do have reefs, but shallow reefs. No like the Great Barrier Reef, or no sudden drop-offs that goes from. Guys, if anybody wants to know about all the ships on the outside here, I'm going to explain that in front now. All their food and drinks with smaller boats from the harbour to the outside, go out fishing, come back in here, the agents come out to the boat, the fish is sold on the water here and taken to another country or into the harbour depending on who buys the fish. Now most of these midwater trawlers are international vessels. We've got, you can say about 40% of the midwater trawlers fishing in our water comes from other countries, but how it works with these international vessels fishing in our waters is they get a license from a Namibian company, which means the fish they're catching stays in Namibia. And also the people working on board must be 50% Namibian citizens. But they've got factories, everything on board these ones tied together like this. These are all deep sea tugboats and oil rig supply vessels. Nelson? That's Nelson. All the seals you see sitting on the beach here, all of them are exactly the same as Eddie and Boo that we had on the boat this morning, the Cape Fur seal. As I said, this is the only type of seal that we do get on our coastline. I must just add to that we've got more of these seals on the coast of Namibia than humans actually living in Namibia. The seals can consume up to 8% of their own body weight in fish per day. With 2.5 million seals, if you give only 1 kilo fish per seal per day, they consume 2,500 tons of fish in a day. That is more than what the total Namibian fishing industry catches in a year. The mother becomes pregnant straight away again. So there's only 7 to 8 days in the whole year that mother seal is not pregnant. Now she then carries the baby theoretically the whole year, because the baby is born next year same time. Practically she carries the baby only 7 to 8 months, because for the first 4 to 5 months that she still needs to supply milk to that just born baby, she stops the whole process. almost like freezing the embryo. Only after 4 to 5 months, everything carries on growing. Carries the baby lasts 7 to 8 months. Baby is born next year, same time. And it's not only the seals can slow down the gestation like that. Antelope like springboks, hartebeest, impalas, they can do it as well. Kangaroos can do it. The deer in Germany, the one on the Jägermeister bottle, Hirsch, they can do it as well. Guys, what you're seeing here now is all young ones and females. The males are quite far out. They eat a lot, get very big and fat, only coming to land end of September, starting to fight for their space in the colony. And the bigger and the fatter they are, when they come to land end of September, the more chance they have of being the dominant male. A dominant male seal can have up to 50 females in one mating season. These two little dolphins you're seeing here, these are not baby dolphins, that's fully grown Benguela dolphins. As I said, the Benguela dolphin are also known as the heavy-sized dolphin. That's my length, and about 70 kilograms heavy. As I said, these are the special ones. As I said, you find them only in the Benguela current, which is from St. Helena Bay in South Africa up to Benguela in Angola. Got two names, like I said, heavy-sized dolphin and Benguela dolphin. Heavy-sized dolphin comes from Captain and Dr. Heavyside. Captain Heavyside was the first guy to see these dolphins and record it in his logbook in 1828, which is many, many moons ago. The first guy to start doing research on them was a Dr. Heavyside, but that was only in 1963. So 135 years later, two guys, same surname, same dolphin, Heavyside dolphin. Then they found out you see this dolphin only in the Benguela current, and in 1973 they classified it as. Why these dolphins actually has got two names, like I said, heavy-sized dolphin and Benguela dolphin. Heavy-sized dolphin comes from Captain and Dr. Heavyside. Captain Heavyside was the first guy to see these dolphins and record it in his logbook in 1828, which is many, many moons ago. The first guy to start doing research on them was a Dr. Heavyside, but that was only in 1963. So 135 years later, two guys, same surname, same dolphin, Heavyside dolphin. Then they found out you see this dolphin only in the Benguela current, and in 1973 they classified it as the Benguela dolphin.